Hello YouTube family, Greg D here, back with another video, and today we're going for a drive in the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas SEL Premium. So we made a video obviously talking about how I was able to get my wife her dream car, but we never really went for a drive with it. We never really talked about the driving characteristics of it. So that's what we're doing today. So the first thing that you'll notice once you get into the car itself, the SUV, is how big it is. I constantly joke that this is my tank. I call it the stealth bomber just because we have a black car, and this thing is big, especially if you're not used to driving something this big. I mean, this is a 7-seater. You can even see in the back there how far the sunroof does go back, basically to the third row of seats there. So this thing is massive. This thing massive, although it doesn't drive like a massive car. Surprisingly, you'll notice that the steering wheel does feel very good in your hands first thing. I don't know what kind of leather Volkswagen uses, but it's freaking awesome. It always feels so good, and that's a good thing, considering that that's where your hands are going to be the most when you're driving the car, obviously. You will also notice that you have a D-shaped steering wheel. You got the flat bottom there, which is great. I love that. Give you the extra sporty feel there. Oh God, went over a big bump there. You'll notice how light the steering feels in this car. So I mean, granted, you're driving essentially a 4,700-pound SUV, and this thing steers so light. It feels more like my GTI, like I'm driving my GTI. The power plant is great. We have the naturally aspirated 3.6-liter V6, VR6 out of this bad boy, and it's great. It sounds great, even though it's stock. I mean, you can really hear the rumble when you get on it. In 90% of situations, it has an adequate amount of power, 276 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque, more than enough in 90% of the situations, especially if you're just daily driving. There have been some instances where it's a little sluggish getting up to speed when you are, merging onto the highway or something like that. But otherwise, like I said, in 90% of the situations, more than enough power. Obviously, if you have the 2-liter 4-cylinder version of this, you could always get it tuned, obviously, to make a little more power there as well. But I mean, overall, it feels good. It doesn't feel underpowered by any means, and it's just really smooth. That is the biggest thing that I've noticed about driving this car, is it's smooth. It rides so freaking nice. It is so comfortable. We have the leatherette seats in the SEL Premium. They're not the actual full leather or anything. So much like the entire Volkswagen line there, we have that leatherette going on. So but it still feels nice. It still feels good. You have a big center console right here to rest your arm on, and you can literally almost fit like a gallon of milk in there, which is pretty sweet. That's almost as big as most pickup trucks, like Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, things of that nature. The kid who is back in the back seat there, he absolutely loves this car. So it's more than comfortable, more than big enough for multiple family members. You could easily take the entire squad, go on a road trip and not have any problems whatsoever, I should say. The biggest thing that I will tell you is the gas mileage isn't so great. Obviously, being a V6 engine, a big V6 at that, and being a pretty heavy vehicle, I think Volkswagen claims 17 city, 23 highway, and I think at best I've maybe managed 20 MPGs, and that's driving to work, which is mostly highway for me. So keep that in mind if this is a vehicle that you are looking and thinking about getting. It's going to cost you at the pump. Like I said, my wife, when she drives it, she's a little bit more of an aggressive driver than I am, but you can probably, she gets about 15, 16 MPGs. I can usually get 18 to 20, but I have yet to see 23, 24. I mean, maybe once at my highest I got 22, but like I said, just be prepared for that. Now, this does have an 18.5-gallon fuel tank, which does help. And she also, I should say, my wife's not a big fan of the auto start stop feature, which can help your gas mileage a little bit. She doesn't like having that on. She doesn't like it whatsoever, so that could be also a reason why she's only getting 15 to 16. I don't mind it that much. I leave it on, so maybe that's why I'm getting a little higher. Just keep that in mind as well. Like I said, 18.5 gallon fuel tank though. You don't need premium. You can put regular into this, so that'll also save you a couple bucks. 18.5 gallon fuel tank is fairly big. It's not terrible by any means. It's not going to really kill you at the pump. My Volkswagen Passat that I had was an 18.5 gallon fuel tank out of a simple sedan. So, but overall, I really do like this car. As we look, we went over the interior and exterior in the first video that I made about this car. The car looks sharp. It's big. I mean, whether you have whether your family is 3 members or 6, you've got more than enough room for everybody. So, yeah, this thing is great. I mean, I love it. And you're looking at probably spending, if you want the top of the line SEL like this, you're probably looking at spending between $45,000 and $48,000. I think this one's stickered for about $46,000. So just keep that in mind. It's a little pricey, but I feel like you get what you pay for. Everything is kind of soft touch. There's no really cheap plastics unless you get down to here, but where your knees are. But honestly, how much are you really paying attention to that? Because it's kind of like out of your line of sight. And I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, this car is just fun. It's fun to drive in a mild manner way. It can definitely get up to speed, like I mentioned before, in 90% of situations, and it's comfortable. I mean, this is I honestly can't wait to take this thing on a road trip, just because it's gonna be great. So sorry about that falling down, but that's all I got for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you soon.